Tata has been at the forefront in the electric car space, and incidentally, it all started with the Tigor EV. That was a test bed of sorts, and the cars went to EESL. But then Tata became a little bit more serious and wanted to appeal to the consumers in a more aggressive manner. And that's how the Nexon EV was born, which was very well received as well. But now Tata wants to get into the mass category, which it intends to get more numbers from. And that's why we have the Tigor EV now. This one is completely different from the first Tigor EV that we saw. Whether the Tigor EV has the legs to really capitalize on Tata's first mover advantage is something that we are going to try and find out. The first thing that has occurred to me after driving this car for even 5 minutes is the fact that the first Tigor EV that I drove, the lot that went to EESL, that car was an absolute nightmare when you compare it to this one. And I went on record to say exactly as much. It was a dud. The battery management system was all over the place. It did not really talk to your throttle input at all. And the overall experience of that car was, hey, you know what? I think Tata has missed out on this opportunity in a big way, and they just don't know how to do things. But with the Nexon, things started to evolve in a very strong manner, and that is exactly what you feel even in here. Now, the base is of course a regular Tigor, and the platform has been pretty alright. Actually, I have enjoyed my time in the Tigor, and it is one of the more pleasing cars to drive. Of course, the quality of the materials here and there is definitely a big question mark. But beyond that, if you just peel under the surface, it is a very competent product, and it has always been. There is a great amount of feel that you get from the chassis, and the steering is actually not bad at all. So the fundamentals of the car were always very strong, and then when you apply electric drivetrain to it, things can be a little bit of a mixed bag, because you have a great amount of heft. What I mean to say is that Tigor was between 900 to about 1100 kilos, and the Tigor EV definitely adds up on that weight. It is near around 1300 odd kilos. So that extra bulk of almost 150-200 kilos can definitely be felt, not in the way the car takes off, because the power delivery, as is the case with any electric vehicle, because of the torque being available right from really zero or just about the RPM that you get on the throttle with. So in terms of the leap that it takes, especially in the S mode, we'll talk about the modes later, but that is definitely not an issue. But the extra weight that I'm talking about is kind of evident in the way this thing goes around the bends. But at the same time, I acknowledge that this car is not going to be driven by people who are absolutely crazy when it comes to performance driving. This is for people who want to just poodle around or go from point A to point B, do the home to office, that sort of commute, and for that, this is actually not bad at all. Design, the silhouette is largely the same. It's the Tigor, and it's not a bad thing at all, because it has always looked good. Yes, there are some handicaps when you talk about the sub 4 meter category, be it a sedan or a fastback or a notchback design, or be it a small crossover design. There are always going to be some challenges, because that's a very, very stupid segment to be in terms of design freedom. But Tigor is one of those cars, in addition to the Ford Aspire, that look actually pretty decent. And I'm glad that nothing really has changed on that front. It has actually just gotten better, because now you have a more seamless front end. There is a nice slab running in the front. It's a very seamless sort of a front end, and a great treatment, because it all just shouts EV in a very subtle way. So you can actually sense the contrast over there. It shouts in a subtle way. But yes, it's a very identifiable look, and it just works. On the inside, it's again exactly the same. The layout is the same. The plastics are the same, which not the best out there. So let that be. I'm not really going to dig into the issues of the quality, because that's not the intention over here. if you are going to buy into the EV bandwagon with the Tigor EV, then you're going to probably just overlook all these issues because you know what, you probably already knew that the Tigor suffers all the quality issues that it has. It's not bad. Let's be very fair to Tata. It's not bad. It's one of the better put together cars that they have made. But at the same time, the greys are very weird and they reflect quite badly into the windscreen. It's also very scratchy. It's the feel that really murders the experience. You also get a screen over here, which is the norm nowadays, and you can do all your connectivity jobs with this. One bit that I have a problem with is the angle at which the screen rests. Sometimes it catches the sunlight and you can't really read too much, so that could probably be a little improved on. But overall, it's alright. When I first drove the Tigor, not the Tigor EV, the previous one, but the Tigor when it first launched, I was very, very excited about the way the steering wheel was designed. And it is exactly the same unit. The small diameter really works and it also rests very nicely in your hands. So the grip is good. The feedback surprisingly is also great, which I did not expect because I thought that because of the added weight, the Tigor EV is going to be hampered a little bit. But you know what? It actually goes pretty nicely into the corners. The only issue that I have is that it doesn't really self-return very naturally. So sometimes when you expect the steering to self-return and it does not, you kind of just panic and you get your hands around the steering wheel to correct it. Might overcorrect as well. That can be a little unnerving, but overall, you probably just are going to get used to it. The battery is a 26 kWh lithium ion and it's water cooled, which feeds all the joules into an electric motor that is capable of doing about 75 horsepower and 170 Newton meter, which is substantially lower than the Nexon EV. And that is not surprising because this is a much lower segment and it's also a different kind of a car. The application is going to be different as well. When you get into S, and I think you should, because the D mode, it's completely okay when you're really in very chock-a-block sort of situations, when the traffic is very heavy and you are just going about, that's about it. But if you find a gap that you have to go for, even when you are in the city, the D mode just does not give you the sense of immediacy that you would want from an electric drivetrain. So I think it's best that you shift yourself into the S mode, and then the supply is a lot more immediate and you can feel it. It's just a very different experience, and that is the mode that I would be in all the time. It's not sporty as such. Yes, the supply is a lot more immediate and it's much better than the D mode, but it's not sporty by any stretch of the imagination. But if you go against an IC car or an internal combustion engine car, then yes, this thing is going to definitely leap ahead a little bit. But the moment you start to get into the momentum of the drive, then the IC is going to leave it absolutely dead. Now, brakes, and every EV has regen braking or regenerative braking. So you essentially feed back some of the energy that would have otherwise been lost into the batteries, and that's a great trick to have because it kind of replenishes the charge a little bit. Not all that great, but still, every drop counts, right? The regen in this is hardly noticeable. Yes, when you get off the throttle, it of course is going to feed the power back into the batteries, but you don't notice it. The retardation is not as aggressive as I've felt in some other electric vehicles, but hardly matters. It is there, so it is going to function for sure. In terms of the overall drive quality, I think the nature is very slightly different from the regular Tigor, the petrol or the diesel Tigor, and that's all to do with the added weight. And I don't know if there has been a great amount of change that's gone down in the floor design to accommodate for the weight of the batteries and the placement of the batteries, but I would expect that there has been some sort of stiffening going on because the lateral load shift on the body can definitely be felt a little bit, I thought it's going to be a lot worse than what it is. But I've been throwing the car around to just sense whether it gets unsettled in a very alarming way, but it does not. And not that it's riding on great tires or anything, these are regular Apollos. So I'm not even the Allies. So it's not the grippiest thing out there, but at the same time, the load shift is very nicely contained. So I think there is definitely something that's been done to the floor to manage the weight of the batteries to shift it in a very proportionate manner. Now, the Tigor has always been appreciated for its safety. It gets 4-star crash safety rating as well. And in terms of the EV safety, it has a lot of things that kind of make it shock-proof. There is a prevention for overcharging, for shock. It's an IP67 system, and just generally, it's going to promise you a lot of active and passive safety things. Dual airbags, you get ABS with EBD and corner stability control. So you're not really going to push the envelope of the performance or the dynamic capabilities of the car to such an extent that you will need all that, but it's always very reassuring to know that you have a big safety net in case of emergencies. So with the Tigor EV, what Tata is doing is getting into a segment which can prove to be a little bit more beneficial, a little bit more rewarding in terms of sales, because it is set at a price bracket which kind of competes against the subcompact crossovers and some entry-level medium-sized sedans. So if you want that whole novelty, that whole brand equity around EVs right now, this is a good entry point. And kudos to Tata for actually taking the lead in this game. No other manufacturer in this sort of a space has been able to really do as compelling stuff as Tata has been doing. So with Tata Tigor EV, what you have is a very contemporary sort of a car. Looks nice. It's exactly the same as the Tigor, so the practicality quotient is pretty high up. And then you have the whole ego massage that you get with this being a green car.